Hello, and welcome to the audio commentary for the film Creepshow. My name is Michael Felsher, and I will be moderating, if that's the word, this commentary tonight.
That's a good word.
Just don't get in the way.
Well, yeah, no, thanks. See, it's off to a wonderful start.
Already Michael is taking shit here.
Yeah. So we have two gentlemen in the room here, and who's here with me right now?
Tom Savini.
George Romero.
And and then that's all we need to
And
say.
Stephen King is in here in spirit. He's
In spirit, yes, he is.
Right. And there's his son, Joe King. The boy in this scene is played by Stephen's son, Joe. Him.
with the slap mark. Did we do that?
You must have.
We must have. Yeah.
Unless you just did a lot of
Unless we
takes.
just smacked him. Around.
Yeah, this was like take 14.
Yes. He's tired of being smacked around.
Tommy Atkins, Pittsburgh guy.
Isn't Joe King like a filmmaker now or something? Didn't you tell me something like that?
You saw him at a show last year. He walked up to your table, and it was Joe King. He looks just like his dad now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Comic book. You have the comic book, right?
Rick Catazone has the
But
one
did
that
you shoot the comic book?
Yeah, we shot the pages in the count.
So
Yeah.
they'll be able to see that.
Oh yeah,
in
the
comic
actual
book.
hand penciled in comic and everything. I think that was just a prop that someone actually has that prop because it's still curled up the way Tom was holding it.
See that crack? All that horror crap?
Reason was.
Ivor Jean. Tom Atkins, man, he was living in L.A. and moved back to Pittsburgh. He did a bunch of work in L.A., did a couple of John Carpenter things, and moved back to the Burg.
And he worked with you a couple times later on Bruiser and
Yep.
Two Evil Eyes.
He was in Bruiser, and he was in several.
He does a lot of public theater in Pittsburgh too.
Oh yeah. So the opening story segues to anime. So now we're about to see one of your creations,
Raul.
Raul.
Raul is.
See, I didn't remember that was his
Raul.
name was Raul.
Raul. Yeah, we named everything. Raul
know.
he's a real skeleton. He's a real skeleton, and when he arrived in the box said a product of India. It was a real skeleton, and we hid all the mechanisms in the skeleton, so we were hoping when the lightning flashed you could see through the skeleton, so that's why we hid everything.
But you couldn't see through it.
Well, he was... They put carpet on
His robes
He was
on.
dressed in the carpet, you know.
And this is all animation by Rick Catazone in the Animators in Pittsburgh. And I always thought these credits ran too fast. Not enough time on each one of them.
They are quick. They dissolve really
They're very quick.
quickly. Yes.
Hal Hold, Adrienne Barr, Fritz Wah, Leslie.
Carrie Nye,
She just passed away.
yeah,
Yeah. She passed away, I think, last summer.
Dick Cavett wife.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that. Yeah, there's a couple people aren't with us anymore. It's a shame E.G. Marshall's not around. Boy, I tell you, I remember him from 12 Angry Men. You know, the old one sitting in the Met.
They called him Eege.
Eege? On the set?
Eege.
Oh, they call him
That's
Eege?
on the set.
Yeah.
Eege. Yeah.
Vivica Lindvers passed away some time ago.
Father's Day.
This was shot in a house in Pittsburgh. It was an actual house.
It's a real house owned by some guy that made wigs. I mean, it was a hairdresser.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Dom Abbott, I think, was his name.
This is the Abbott house.
Yeah.
It's mansion.
Warner show.
The guy was real persnickety, I guess.
Really?
Yeah, I remember one day later on when Nate's corpse was walking around, the set decorators put muddy footprints on the floor. And he came in one day and, what the hell are you guys doing? And wanted to mop up the footprint. No, that's
It's part of the show.
hot set. Yeah, hot set. You know. Warner Shook, Pulitzer Prize winning.
Yeah, how about
Warner
that?
Shook.
Warner Shook is a director of plays and who won the Pulitzer for Kentucky Cycle, Carrie Nye. And
Here comes Viv.
Vivica sort of corrupted her character. She had her own way with it, you know. Steve, I think didn't like it very much.
Oh, really?
Yeah. John Lorman.
I remember him from a Star Trek episode for The World is Hollow and I've Touched the Sky, and I swear he looked the same then as he does in this.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just like,
And Ed Harris, man, we'd worked with Ed in a film called Night Riders, and Ed was about to get his big break, which was playing John Glenn in The Right Stuff, but he hadn't gotten it yet, and so he agreed to do this, and so it was like old times.
He only made one movie, well, before Night Riders. It was Borderline, Charles Bronson movie.
oh yeah.
He was the bad guy.
The point is, Bedelia loves
We decided to try to do all these opticals and, you know, to make it more comic booky.
Mm-hmm.
The frames around things and all that. That jagged frame. And
That was the guy who falls back in the water was my assistant, Daryl Ferrucci.
Oh, yeah.
17-year-old Daryl.
Playing a 75-year-old guy getting shot in the
Well,
face.
just to fall back in the
Yeah.
water.
that's the marble ashtray,
Oh yes.
which theoretically appears, and we shot it. That marble ashtray appears somewhere in each of the stories in this movie.
We should make it a
But,
point to try to find it.
We
as
should
we're-
try
yeah.
to find it.
So we
But
can
I don't
actually-
think. I think maybe it got cut out of
Well, I know
at
it's
least one of them.
it's the soap dish and they're creeping up on you.
Yeah.
And it's also, I believe it's on Hal Holbrook's dresser in the crate.
Isn't it sitting next to Stephen King? And
Yeah, it's sitting on.
Jordy Verrill?
Yeah, I think it's sitting next to his chair.
Yeah, but where is it in
Something
something,
to Tide-
that Tide You Over? It
I
may
don't-
not be there. It may have been cut out.
I don't think it's in Richard's house. I think
And
it's
I
in,
was the editor of something to Tide You Over, so I cut it out.
is it in Ted Danson's
I think it's in Ted
apartment?
Danson's apartment. If I'm not sure, we'll find out when we get there. We're going to probably be proven horribly wrong.
The audience has to find the ashtray.
The ashtray,
Where's
yeah.
Waldo?
Yeah.
Waldo the ashtray.
No, it was on the beach. I was like, wait a minute, what?
Well, the idea was to put it. We had this wacky idea to put that ashtray in each of the stories, and we did. I don't know if it survived in each of them.
Why?
Well, I don't know. I edited something that Tide You Over. Maybe I cut it out myself.
No, I mean, why would you decide to put it in all
It
the
was a
episodes?
silly idea.
Just a
silly
little
thing,
gimmick?
something for the fans to look for. And this was, before video was as big as it is, right? But
You never think people are going to go back and obsess over where the ashtray is. you know?
no, we were hoping that they would just buy tickets and come to the theater again.
You don't think much after that.
I get emails on where's the ashtray.
You
Guy
do?
wanted to buy the ashtray.
And listen to the Foley on this, man. This was the first time that I even knew what Foley was. And all the footsteps and little jingling of her jewelry and all of that.
Oh yeah, it's all in. That's the first time
It's
you really
all
worried
done
about.
on a
full-
sound stage somewhere by Foley artists. I didn't even know what Foley was.
And so this is just the backyard of this house that you
Yep.
turned into a cemetery.
Yeah.
It was a huge estate. Guy had horses.
Vivica, boy, she's still good looking. But Steve was very upset with the way she took liberties with this role. I mean, she made it her own. She
Well, she just didn't
basically
totally.
designed her own wardrobe, and
I love that you got the cake and there's a cake frame around
yeah.
it. And
But
it's,
this oval was meant to presage the oval in the kitchen doorway later, which you see later.
oh, okay.
Her name, the housekeeper there,
Mrs. Danvers.
Danvers.
Yeah.
Was that
Danvers, yeah.
because
Mrs.
of Rebecca?
Rebecca.
Uh-huh.
Well, you got to ask Stephen about that one, but yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure he was thinking of that.
Little homage to the Hitchcocks,
Yeah.
played by in Rebecca.
Oh,
Mrs.
Joan Fontaine. Or no, it was
Mrs.
Dame
Danvers.
Judith Anderson.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Dame
And
Judith
wasn't it
Anderson.
the witch's mother? What's her name?
The-
Who was the mother of the witch in Bewitched?
Agnes
There's the
Moorehead.
ashtray. Clobber.
Now this has become a trivia contest of who played what and where from this movie back in the
wasn't Mrs. Danvers who played
Agnes Moorehead?
Agnes Moorehead.
Wasn't it Agnes Moorehead?
No, I think
it was,
you're right.
No,
It was Dame
she was, in
Judith
fact,
Anderson,
I
yeah.
believe she won an Oscar for that.
Oh, Judith Anderson?
Yeah, for that part, yeah. The film won Best Picture, but Alfred Hitchcock did not win Best Director. It was the only film of his that ever won Best Picture.
Who has that tombstone?
I don't know who has that tombstone, but I know that one of the tombstones is in Bomba's basement. I saw
Which one?
It's one
You
actually.
just picked a random tombstone.
Actually, I think we see it later when Ed Harris wanders back out. That tombstone still exists, but I don't know who has Nathan Grantham's. I know where a lot of the props in this movie are. Because a lot of this was improv, or just here sitting here.
Well, it was, obviously there was a script that Stephen had written, but Vivica just took off on it, went off, did her own thing.
Huh?
Called her father every name in the book, and, it was just,
Yeah, she's just having it out with him right there.
yeah.
She's
But look,
great.
I mean, she's completely into it.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm saying, man, this is fab.
She's excising demons.
Oh,
here.
yeah. Her yearly constitutional, she comes here just to yell and scream at her
Just to taunt
miserable
the
old
grave,
dad.
yeah.
Of course, this year's going to be a little bit different. But... So you actually, Tom, you had a hole built there, right there in front of the grave, and
Yeah, I don't know if did we do it right there? We actually had to dig a hole in the ground in front of the grave so that the corpse could come scratching his way up out of it.
John Amplis.
Yeah.
Actually, it's interesting that the booze brings him back after all these Father's Days. It's what is he, Irish?
yeah, it's like all it takes is a little booze.
A little booze in the soil.
Will come up and kill everybody.
And he
And,
grow, he comes back to life.
Look at you see this is a diopter shot. In other words, they split the focus on so that the fan would be in focus when it came up.
Ah. Well, there's two or
there it
three
is.
there's 2 or 3 guys in that hole besides John Amplis. One guy with the smoke machine. I think Ed Fountain might be down there doing the lights, or
Marty did a lot of lights on this too. you know.
But the guy in the makeup is John Amplis,
Yeah.
the guy who played Martin in a film we made called Martin.
except when there's a close-up of the maggots, then Debbie Pinthus got in the costume because John didn't want maggots to crawl on him.
Is that right?
So
I
we
don't
grabbed
remember.
Debbie Pinthus, and she let the maggots crawl on her. And she eventually became one of the bug handlers in
Creepshow.
Yeah,
the later part that they're creeping up on you.
yeah. And
Oh,
in
here's
fact,
Ed's. This is Ed's wonderful dance. This is the best. I mean, this is
that's hard to do.
That's got to be on a.
How do you look cool, dancing in front of the crew and
I
everything?
suppose. All I know is it definitely should be when AFI does their tribute to him. I'm sure at some point that should open it. Is his dancing?
That
for
should.
Creepshow.
I mean, do you believe this? I mean,
Yeah.
Ed is the most serious, sort of, considered kind of guy, and here he is, like rocking out.
While we were shooting this, the guy who owned the place, the abbot, his German Shepherd died, and the dog is buried in that hole that
and-
Nate came out of.
So it's.
So the whole served a purpose.
It did.
Yeah,
Yeah. It was.
So don't say that, we movie makers.
It's practical.
And in the next Creepshow, someone's going to go visit the grave, and the dog's going to come back and
Yeah, exactly.
attack and kill the person. Ed's going to die.
Well, he's going to die when he lights a smoke.
Well, he went off on
All he
went
needs
off-
to do is start whistling Dixie.
Although it fools people now when they watch the movie because, of course, Ed's a huge actor. People think, well, of course they're not going to kill off Ed Harris now.
Well, they killed Janet Leigh, didn't they?
Yeah. But now people are
Psycho.
just like, oh, man, they just squashed him.
Ed's great. He made me cry in The Abyss.
Oh, right.
Oh, it
yeah.
was amazing.
Yeah.
He's a wonderful actor.
Brought me to tears on that one. I still haven't seen Pollock. I own it, but I
Oh,
haven't
it's
watched
wonderful.
it yet.
It's really wonderful.
He keeps trying to, he keeps trying to, like make it real. And I kept saying, Ed, it's not real. It's not meant to be real. Don't worry about hacking up your pants. Don't worry about anything. But you know what? It all works. You never think twice about any of it.
Did you see him in History of
Violence.
Violence?
So Cronenberg's movie, yeah.
Did you see him in Beethoven? Did you see him in?
I missed that one.
No.
Oh boy,
I try to see everything is in. You saw him on the inside the actor studio when he goes off on Night Riders? You know, they didn't show that in the finished thing, but he Night Riders, yeah, and people in the audience, students,
Oh,
had
really?
seen it and were with him.
Oh, that's
You know, yeah.
excellent. Oh, that's excellent.
Well, he made a film last year called Copying Beethoven, and there's he plays Beethoven. I mean, check that out.
Wow.
But he does this wonderful job, and there's a sequence in there. Where I mean, I can't go into details on it now, but it's this wonderful sequence where the orchestra plays the fifth, and the musicians didn't want to do it because he was deaf, and this woman who was his copyist and who was secretly in love with him
Wow.
conducts basically from a hidden place behind the orchestra, and it's just it's one of the greatest sequences in film. And Ed is fabulous.
Well, he always seems to commit so thoroughly to whatever part it is he's playing.
Well, he did, man.
Even in Night Riders, tears, real tears, man. You know.
Well, in Night Riders, when he turns over the crown, I mean, everybody. There wasn't anybody on the set that was.
Richard Rubinstein was crying. You know, it was. But you know what? You just walked up to us one day and said, "Oh, we're going to do the crowning this afternoon." What crowning? I had no idea we were going to shoot that. And that's what helped make it, I think, so emotional, because we weren't ready. Boom, and then the Queen hands the crown over. It's supercharged.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, what now?
Look at Ed. You know what? He did that shot. That's so un-Ed Harris. That eyes, make the eyes
The
roll
big
over.
exaggerated eye
Yeah, and I
roll.
was
And
saying to him, do the exaggerated eye thing. Look at the hand and seem afraid.
Let's all do the sound when the tombstone hits them,
Yeah.
okay? It's a pretty good sound effect.
it was a really
He does
squishy
it.
hit.
Ed does it.
It's very juicy. It's
You at
very-
home, go with it and do the sound with
Yeah.
us, from now on. This will become the Rocky Horror of the
Oh,
Right.
exactly.
Have some friends over and everybody do the sound right at that moment.
and look for the ashtray.
Well, this is the type of movie you're supposed to do that with.
Where is the ashtray, the real ashtray?
Beats me. I think Tasso or Chris Stafrakis has it.
Well, I know he borrowed it and made copies of it.
Yeah, he's selling them for on eBay for
$300 was the last one.
Yeah.
I saw it, yeah.
Warner Shook has some good lines in this one. I like the line right before the last line. I think really is, "Are we conserving energy?"
Right.
Droll.
Yeah, he's very, very
Very
effective.
droll.
He's
Perfect casting.
Warner is droll. It is perfect casting. Actually, he went to school with my wife at the time, Christine, and I've known him for years. But Warner, this character is exact. He's also in Night Riders. He plays Pippin, the guy.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. He's in Dawn too. He's,
In Dawn, yeah, he plays a zombie in Dawn.
Blew his brains out.
A bit of
Yeah.
an effete zombie, but it comes across with that fake beard that you put on him.
Did I?
You put a fake beard on Warner
Why, just to make him look different?
just to make him look different.
Night Riders. We were indulging ourselves on that movie. Every day was Halloween on that movie.
And here's the oval window back, and
Yeah.
Mrs.
So the
Danvers.
early ovals were presaging.
ovals are evil in this movie.
The recurring ovals.
And then Mrs.
Doing.
So I thought that would be a real shocker, and
Oh, it's
it never really worked. It shouldn't have been all blue. Now, look at this. Look.
Ooh.
There's another sound we can all do. But this thing of her on the tray later, when he comes in with her head on the tray, Tom, you remember that? Trying to make the tray, make it look, because she was actually,
She's there.
she's there.
stuck through
She's kneeling on
tray.
the floor. I think there was some black cloth in front of her.
You have a
Black
picture
cloth.
of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all black.
And we
cloth.
used a real head, just made it look like her
Yeah.
severed head.
But if you see this with the wrong resolution, or if you brighten the screen too much, you can see the black cloth,
Oh, really?
and it bums out the whole effect.
Look, I just want to get another bottle of wine.
But you'll see it in a minute.
All right.
I think we'll see the muddy footprints in here shortly as well.
Oh, sure. The ones that. So you got to clean
That
these
the guy
up.
wanted to clean up. Yeah.
Oh,
Stop.
yeah, here comes Warner's. Conserving energy. Uh-oh.
The oval again.
The oval again.
there they
The
are.
muddy
The muddy
footprints
footprints.
that Tom Abbott was so upset by. We did clean up over there. See, now there's a cloth there. And if you brighten your screen, you can see the cloth. Because it actually is scary. Now, these effects were done with theatrical scrims. See there, you can really see the cloth. But those lightning effects behind the heads and everything, we had scrims with solid black shapes in them. And between them was basically a gauze. And we would shine a red light through it. And when you turned the light on, you saw the effect.
This set was built on a hill. There was a flight path because it's near the airport, it was a flight path. It was a landmark for pilots. And all of a sudden they're seeing this old house on this familiar, and they were confused,
Like, what the hell's going on? Where are we?
Yeah, but those opticals, I mean, this was in the early days. man.
Yeah.
I mean, the optical of that meteor and everything, it really works. Now, Stephen King plays this role, and he still won't speak to me because I said, play it like the Coyote in the Warner Brothers things. And he said, oh, people are going to hate it. And a lot of people did hate it, but I think it's perfect.
Well, he's a Huckabee. He's
a total rube. He's supposed to. I mean, if this guy was played subtle, it wouldn't work.
When this meteor hit, I asked George what he wanted to see, and he said, how about a smoke ring? We tried to achieve it with a circle of explosions, but
You get
the
a
wind.
you get a little bit of that effect but it's not.
It would have been so cool though if a smoke ring
yeah.
just left the pit there. Today you would
Department of
just
Meteors.
CGI it in.
Well, I love how everything's tilted and he just
Well,
kind of.
CGI could do anything, right?
Could have erased the black cloth under Carrie Nye.
And there's Bingo O'Malley in one of his roles.
Yeah, Bingo was, when I interviewed him, he said his family didn't recognize him when they were at the premiere. It's just like, no, guys, that's me. Because he doesn't, I mean, for the longest time, I knew it was the same actor playing like the doctor, but I didn't know it was the same guy playing the father at the very end that he sees. And I was just like, that was all Bingo. I was like, I couldn't believe that.
The father at the very end.
When
Yeah,
Geordie sees his
Geordie's
father
father.
in the mirror.
Oh, yeah. In the
That
mirror.
was Bingo
yeah.
too.
The disciplinarian. Now, Bingo's a wonderful actor. I mean, he can really hide himself. But
This has been like a casting pool for me. I used Fritz, I used Bingo, and House Call, and then Fritz and Tales from the Dark Side.
And so that's one of the effects you did, the little
Yeah,
blisters
little, little plastic blisters. They eventually come up on his lip too, I think.
He's working those eyebrows, man. He's just going on full
he's
tilt.
doing
It's a cartoon.
Yeah.
It's a cartoon. It's meant to be a cartoon.
Well, I have new meaning now, and thinking that you asked him to be the coyote, and I can see.
Yeah, look, there's the thing where he does the clunk.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Geordie.
And I love the little rain cloud. It's like everything's gone to hell.
Steve looking sad, knowing that he's screwed up.
Oh, Geordie.
I just love the fact that his idea of rich is $200.
Yeah.
To walk into, I mean, it's just like $200.
Well, look where he lives.
Yeah, for him, that's enough to pay off a bank loan. It's enough to get him out of Hawkins. Everything's fine.
Well, it's funny. Steve writes from that perspective sometimes. Steve writes the common person, And this is a pretty sad tale, actually.
Yeah, because he's not a bad guy. He's just...
Now, remember, we were trying to get this stuff to glow. And you know what we did? We had those things...
Siloom tubes.
Yeah, that you get at Disney World or wherever, and you crack them open and they glow.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh, that's glowing.
Well, I don't know if that's glowing or,
or if
not.
it's an effect. Huh?
Gotta
It's
ask
glowing. It
Mike
looks like
Dorn.
you blocked out all the rest and just kind of
Yeah,
concentrated on
irised in on it.
Yeah.
But the shot of the actual meteor, because you had to see the hands and the meteor, that was hard to get that.
Not
I mean,
bad.
we had to shoot way at the bottom of the lens, and but the stuff was glowed enough to. On video today, you could shoot that, you know.
Oh, you can make that day glow green and
You
bright.
could make
And
it day glow, whatever
yeah.
you wanted. But this was film. And this was the first time we actually had to buy stock footage.
That's what that is. Okay.
Huh?
Stock footage of the
A
wrestlers.
wrestling match, and later you'll see the footage of Star Wars, the original Star Wars Born.
So that's what that movie is there. There's been some people have mistaken that movie for How Green Was My Valley, and I'm like, no, it's
Oh
not.
no, it's Star Wars. Star is
Born?
Born. Yeah. And these sets were, I mean, now check it out. We wanted the stuff to be green, but the house to look blue. So the lighting was incredible in this.
There's actually no green in the house anywhere, really. It's all very.
Well,
So
yeah, inside it gets red. We were trying to accent it a little red when it gets alarming.
I've always loved this bit when he goes to the doctor. The camera's tilted and the doctor just rolls through the frame. He just like, where's he coming from?
And says doctor's office. Hello. Well, I mean, we just had this idea. Well, if the frame is going to be tilted, the guy should be rolling downhill.
It's a great idea.
And I love the skeletons moving in the back.
He's going uphill.
Yeah. You've got everything low and it's all.
Almost as if he's surprised to have arrived.
So he's the roadrunner and Steve's the coyote. This is going to be very painful.
Extremely painful, Mr. Farrell.
And getting that glint off the thing.
Oh, it's perfect.
It was all practical, man. I mean, we just sweated until the light was in the right place.
Yeah.
And Big O had to turn that mirror right into the position.
Yeah, Bingo mentioned that. He said he had to stay perfectly still just so that the light and the camera could focus
Yeah,
properly.
except he had to turn his head
Right.
on that shot and had to hit the mark.
Just about everything that we special makeup effects-wise that we planned worked, except anything we tried on Stephen King. We had a tongue that grew plants that wouldn't work. We had a hand that grew plants, couldn't get that to work. We had green lenses to go in his eyeballs, plastic. His eyes were cast for that. Couldn't get him in. His reflexes were too tight, his muscles.
But you do have at least a tongue, still have a little bit of growth on his tongue. Here.
Oh, he sticks it out. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there it is. Not that.
Well, see, that's not the fake tongue. We actually cast his tongue to make this stuff, and it wouldn't work.
Later.
I like how it looks like this stuff's the stuff's like pouring out of the faucet now.
All this green stuff is really there.
All the little details.
No, this was
that
all
stuff.
real set dressing
Yeah.
by Cletus Anderson's crew.
Imagine from a continuity standpoint, that had to be a nightmare figuring out, okay, how much of it's up to the house by now? How much of it do we have here? And
Well, they did it in stages, and we shot it in stages. So, so stage 1, stage 2, stage 3.
so you didn't have to worry about going back and forth too much.
No, we didn't. We
So you
didn't
could
really.
choose whatever stage you wanted for a
Because there's
particular...
once he's in the house, he's in the house. There was no interactivity with any of it.
I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a howling wind blowing up here on the 12th floor of this apartment building, right outside the windows
It's
here.
very appropriate, I
Yeah.
think.
It actually worked really well with that little look that Steve gave.
The thing is, I mean, Steven's performance in this, yeah, it's very over the top, but you really feel for this guy. I mean, he's not.
You know what? It's over the top, but it's meant to be. I mean, how else are you going to do it? How
Yeah.
else do you do this? Try to do it realistically, and you.
Do it, underplay it. I mean, come on, you can't
The guy is turning into
do a plant. I mean, come on.
How serious do you... is it... what's the metaphor,
Yeah.
Have we seen the ashtray yet?
You know,
Uh-oh.
I
We
have-
haven't been looking for the ashtray.
No,
we
we
might have
haven't.
seen it.
Yeah, we might have, but I could have sworn it was.
He does go back to that chair.
Yeah,
so
he
if
does.
it is sitting next
we
to
gotta
him,
look for the chair.
but it's probably all covered with green by now.
No.
You know.
When in doubt, booze.
Vodka.
Yeah,
And orange.
make a screwdriver. Sad thing is, if I was in the situation, I'd probably be doing pretty much everything he does.
Same thing he does.
You know,
And this is actually Michael Gornick's brother,
really.
Oh.
right? Who is a real priest.
Oh, so that wasn't. So you actually filmed that for
We
this?
actually shot that.
I thought it was a real sermonette. Remember they had
No,
those sermonettes?
yeah,
I
sermonette.
had no
No,
idea.
that's
That's
Michael Gornick's brother,
Wow.
who is a real priest.
I'm growing. He
Yeah.
knows he's doomed.
Yeah. His luck is in and his luck is bad.
Yeah.
Do you have that outtake of him when the screen appears behind him
Yeah.
and he coughs?
Yeah.
Which?
It's the behind the scenes stuff that I shot. On one take, when the screen appears behind him when he wakes up, he inhales, and I guess he inhales some plant and coughs it out on a take.
I think there you go.
Poor Jordy. Gotta feel sorry for the guy. There he goes. We got a little fog filter on this shot, just to make it look a little fuzzier. And here comes Bingo again.
Clean shaven this time. It's the only one where he's not.
Okay, if you're turning into a plant, wouldn't the worst thing you could do is jump in a vat of water?
Yeah, but it itches.
Ah,
It's so itchy.
Eddie?
I did like the little line he had. Oh no, not there.
Yeah.
It's like,
today they would cut to that shot and you'd see this.
you'd see it, yeah. I mean, why,
This
why just talk about it when you can show it?
We resisted.
And you got this. I was like, was it intentional? I mean, I don't know if you remember, George, but when you get the close up of the water, you can actually see.
it's enticing.
Yeah, it's like there's actually like little bits of the plant life on it almost. It's like almost like it's beckoning to him.
Well, we used I think a star filter or something to make it look.
Just like the most amazing
Like a
thing. that-
product shot of
Right.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
water. It beckons him.
Where'd my daddy go?
Well, he's going mad, isn't he?
At this point, it's all over.
His brain is turning to plant. Here we are.
Yeah,
Bloop, bloop.
you can kind of tell it that it's just something's wrong.
It's the universe out there. Gotta go for it. Boosh.
And that was it for him.
Yeah, it's
Sealed
the
his
end of the
fate.
day. Fed them plants a little water.
What was the plant stuff made out of? Do you remember what it was?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's
That was Barbara and Cletus.
Yeah.
Did all
Oh,
the
you
plant
didn't
stuff.
do that wardrobe?
No. I have very little to do on this episode. Because nothing worked. Everything we planned, nothing worked.
Well, I thought you did the costume.
No, Barbara. Yeah. And
No, I mean
even the makeup
I mean the
on it.
greens on the makeup.
Yeah, that was Barbara too.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But you do the effect that's coming up.
Yeah. In fact, I'm up in the ceiling now.
Oh yeah.
I'm up in the ceiling with my finger on a button to make the blood bags in the top of the head explode, and I yank off the top of the head like a puppeteer from the ceiling. In fact, Daryl Ferrucci is in the costume, but he's lying flat. His body extends out through the wall of the set because he couldn't be there when we did that. When this explodes. So when that happens, the sound effect was that. And you know what? Every time the gun went off, the costume caught fire. If you would have run that a little longer, somebody runs in and puts the costume out.
That's why we had to freeze it. We froze it.
Oh, because of the
We had to
costume
freeze the frame
Oh
because
yeah.
you could see flame.
catching. And Daryl never knew he was on fire because he can't see.
He
Couldn't
can't see anything. He's just in there. Is everything okay?
It's like,
In
oh,
fact, we
yeah.
had
No, you're on fire, man.
And we
Sorry.
had to guide
But well,
his,
we're on top of it.
Yeah, we're going to lunch. See ya. It's been great. Yeah.
and we had to guide his hands. No, left, down, move it, because he couldn't see where the gun was going.
Here we are.
Dun, dun.
And that sign where it says Castle Rock was the beginning of Castle Rock.
That's when it started.
That's when it started. That became
Stephen King's
Rob Reiner's company, and
Oh, yeah.
it became the town where bad shit happens in a lot of Stephen King
Oh, yeah.
books.
So we gotta remember.
And
Steve,
that
we
was the first time that Castle Rock ever showed up.
really.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought
Yeah.
it was around before that.
Nope.
Now, we gotta keep our eyes open for that elusive ashtray. We missed it in the
Well,
last.
we missed it. We sure did miss it.
Yeah.
That may work on TV, but I
People,
Ted and-
please write in and tell us.
Yeah.
If you
I'll have
find
to cover it in the documentary somewhere, exactly where the ashtray is in all the segments.
Well, you know what? For some of this is you need to see it large screen and really look for it, because if it's here, if it's in this show, something to tide you over, it's in the apartment here somewhere, but you may not see it on a
So
small
you didn't
screen.
necessarily do a close-up of the ashtray in each episode. It was there. If you
Just
see it,
there,
you see it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only other time you really get a close up of it is in there creeping up on you when he's washing his hands. I think. But enough about the ashtray. We have two very interesting actors in this scene. We got Leslie Nielsen and Ted Danson.
Yeah.
And Leslie, of course, well known today for being the funny man in Naked Gun movies and stuff. But here playing an unbelievable bastard. And having a great old time doing it.
Oh, he's enjoying himself thoroughly. Leslie is right here. The old days of video, right? When it was.
Oh, I know. Look at the size of that deck. The thing's
yeah.
the size of a truck now. I mean,
Yeah.
top loader and everything.
And
There's Ted.
Ted. I mean, Ted was actually a really good guy, and he cooperated, 100% with this, and he did a really good job. But I don't know. He felt, I think, that he was doing a horror movie. Everybody else, like Leslie and everybody else, all the other people in the cast were delighted, to be doing it. And just Leslie blew me away. I mean, I didn't know what to think of him. I saw him in Forbidden Planet. I knew that his early career, he was meant to be a charmer, a hunk, and all that. And then, but all of a sudden, I saw him as this wonderful actor. I mean, he's really a terrific actor.
And he's a tough guy. He's tough, and you believe it.
Yeah.
Aside from Forbidden Planet, he was in some of those Tales of Tomorrow episodes. Black hair, young. And he was a hero of mine in Forbidden Planet. In fact, I talked to him. The only phone was in our special effects lab, and he was always coming in and using it. I said, just please walk in whenever you want to.
So, George, where was this shot? Where was all the beach stuff shot at?
Now, we shot this in New Jersey, I think Ocean City or somewhere near there. Do you remember, Tom?
I wasn't there.
Tom wasn't there.
Yeah, I sent ahead.
Oh, for Ted Danson.
When you actually see the ocean coming and hitting the head, it's a fake. We just gave the prop guys a head. Take it with you to New Jersey. We were back and preparing some other episode, probably.
I wouldn't have thought it was. I mean,
Now, this was a little set right in front, the foreground piece. It was just a piece that we brought
so that house is a
to
mask
tie
painting.
in the house. And this house is a matte painting.
Wow.
That house wasn't
I
there.
never knew that.
Amazing. I thought you found a house and matched the interior.
Yeah,
No, that was it. We painted that house in.
that's right. See,
Excellent.
Just when you think you know everything, you find out the house you always thought was a house was a freaking
Well, isn't
painting.
that the purpose of this? We're divulging
all the secrets? Yes.
The grand illusions, we're diffusing all that.
And now we've got.
Leslie brings this. Look at, he's
He's giddy.
he's just incredible. He's just giddy. He knows exactly what he's going to do to this guy.
He's
And
going to torture him and kill him, and I'm going to videotape it to
And,
play it
and
back.
taunt him with the fart machine after he's buried.
That's at the restaurant after we're finished shooting.
I walked on the set one day. First time I ever saw Leslie sitting over in the corner, surrounded by women over there, and I kept hearing these fart noises. It's coming from him. Oh no, Hollywood people.
Notice how the water creeps in?
Ted was, I saw Onion Field where Ted plays a guy who is threatened at gunpoint, and he freaks out and, really gets nervous. And I said, boy, this guy's
Interesting.
perfect guy for this role.
Doesn't he get shot?
In the Onion Field?
Yeah, doesn't he get shot in the face or something, in the
Yeah,
upper lip?
I don't-
Somebody does in that. Wasn't that James Woods as well?
Oh yeah, James Woods in there.
James Woods, yeah. But Ted is so freaked in that, and I said, this is perfect. I mean, this
Right.
guy's perfect for this.
Because this guy's got to be in a continual state of panic for like the
Yeah,
last.
state of panic for a long time.
Yeah.
And
And Ted's he's got a difficult job because he's got to be panicked. He's got to be trying to reason a way out of this, and at the same time, he doesn't know really the full scope of what Richard's up to.
And he
well, he
submits.
doesn't know it yet, but
Yeah.
he's soon to find out.
And Leslie, of course, cons him by saying, "I just want you
Right.
immobile." or
Mobilized. yeah.
Meantime, I would never jump down.
No,
in that.
no, that's another thing. It's just like at that point, yeah, you know what? Shoot me.
something. No, but it's important that.
Yeah, but
that
look
he
at Ted. I
shoots.
mean, he's really good. He's great in this scene. And Leslie is just forget about it. I mean, he just knocks it out of the park. He's just so.
People forget how good he can be.
Oh, he's a wonderful actor.
The sad thing, though, is when they see this, they're going to associate him with Naked Gun and all the comedy stuff, and
But you know what? You don't. It's
contrast.
funny. You don't get that sense when you watch this. It goes out of your mind really quick. He has the ability to just
Well, he's physically different too.
yeah.
Here.
Yeah. Well, he's younger and.
Yeah.
Although the white hair, he still has the white hair even back then.
Well, he's had white hair since he was 5. That's not true.
Nobody's gonna hear anything.
Yeah, that was important to have him shoot that. The
Yeah.
gun, that's.
So he will do it. Ted's just like,
Well, all of a sudden, that he's serious about it.
Well, how'd you do the bullet hole? Did you a slingshot or something? Or?
Yeah, I think it was a slingshot. It was something. They threw something
Yeah.
at the sand and just.
and now he's neck deep in it.
Yeah. And, obviously you can't do this to a person if you're
can't
just
breathe.
making a movie. So Ed Fountain designed these little holes. I mean, he's actually sitting very comfortably on a chair, and there's a plate around his neck with a collar, like
An iris.
an iris, and we were able to put sand on it, make it look like he was buried. He's actually very comfortable. Now, when the water comes in, it seeped down in,
sure.
and it got very uncomfortable. But you couldn't do this. I mean, and we certainly couldn't rely on the real tides.
Well, no.
So Ed
just bury your actors out on the beach and see what happens.
see what happens.
Yeah. Well, the reality, if you buried someone that much,
That was
they,
ad-libbed.
They
all
wouldn't be
that
able to
slapping.
breathe. They wouldn't. They couldn't.
This little bucket, sort of an indicator. And we actually had a crab
Real-
wrangler that brought this crab and said, well, crabs, they don't do much. They're just crabs. But the
How'd you
crab
get-
actually opened its things. And
Oh.
So
we
you said
got that
action,
done.
and
The crab did.
No,
what it
I didn't say anything. We were just rolling.
you got a performance out of the crab.
Yeah, look at that performance.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe.
There's nothing there. Crab ain't doing nothing.
Like a cockroach.
Well, what is it they say? Never work with crabs and
Look at
cockroaches.
that.
Isn't
Oh,
it?
he's reared
now
up
he's-
because Leslie was approaching. And mean Leslie kicked him away.
Yeah, they wouldn't let you get away with it now. You have to kick a fake crab now. Yeah, you couldn't.
No crabs were harmed.
dirt.
and-
No crabs were harmed,
Although
except one was kicked.
And plenty of roaches were killed.
We didn't actually kill any roaches, but And all this stuff, all these mats and all this effects work that we had to do. It was the first time
TV screen,
we had ever done anything this complicated. I mean, this whole show was really complicated.
What? So back then, was the screen on the television? Did you have to make it a certain color to put that in later,
No,
or
we
just
didn't.
fill in the?
Back then, who knew that
Yeah,
you know, it wasn't green, it wasn't blue, it was just a TV. And they made the mat, they drew the mat, you know, by hand.
Wow.
I always love this. Look back there. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't turn your head.
Yeah.
It's just.
Harry, the VCR is not on play, it's on record. I'm going to save this stuff.
And that really does capture the point of these stories, that the villains in these things are just nasty people.
Nasty people who are bound to get punished, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to punish these guys.
They earn
Now,
their.
if you were just like walking into this room and saw that two-shot of Leslie lying there and Ted sticking out of the set, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, no, what, you know?
Well, you'd probably say, "Isn't that Leslie Nielsen? Wait a minute, isn't that Ted Danson?
Whoa! What are they doing?
What's going
Is this a comedy?
Why is he buried in the sand?
Holding your breath and you're ready for that wave that's covering
And we have Galen Ross there.
That's Galen Ross from Dawn of the Dead. Good old friend. Was willing to let herself get soaked here. And that's Ed Fountain's wave machine, because you couldn't put them under there and subject them to the real tides.
Right.
So you had to have something that shot water at them.
Was it like a big trough?
Increasing, yeah, it was basically like a big shovel.
So they would fill that with water from the sea and then let it go.
And different levels, you know, you could get it. A little bit of wave hits you, a lot of wave hits you, and you're engulfed.
Oh, the tide.
It's coming in.
Oh, the tide.
I've always loved John Harrison's music for this particular moment, because it's just like this tragic moment where it's like, this is it. The fates have been sealed, and this guy is completely screwed, and it's operatic, and it's.
Well, I had a Moviola flatbed brought to my apartment at the time. These poor two guys had to schlep this thing all the way upstairs into my apartment. And I was editing this, and I said, John, I called John, actually, right when I got to this point. And I said, could you compose a piece of music which would be on a metronome? I mean, that would be boom, boom,
Oh, yeah,
boom, boom. And then I said, could you lay a tune over it, like the tune he's whistling, Camptown Races? And so John did. He did this thing, boom, boom. And I said, I got these cuts. I'll do these cuts. They're going to be, you know,
All the stuff in this house.
14 frames apart, each cut. And John came up with this piece of music, boom, 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 boom. And he laid the Camptown Races over it. And it was amazing. And it was like, look at that. Now, that was a dummy head. That was the head, I think, that you sent. The one
That's-
where it-
that's the
that's
head.
the head.
Yeah, because it's too close to the ocean.
And then, of course,
the
there's
bucket.
the big water tank that the last shot we see of Ted, where he's literally underwater.
Yeah.
I always thought that must have been a scary thing to try to shoot.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead.
You had a scuba guy that could lower a regulator into his mouth whenever he gave a certain symbol. Plus, I think he could stand up whenever he wanted to, just in case. But I had a sledgehammer that I hid, just in case something went wrong.
Right.
I would have broken it like Houdini, and the water would have just gushed out, you know, just in case, you know.
He was actually in a tank of water. I mean, it was a tank of water, and we lit it, and we put the scrims behind it, you know, to get that effect. And but he was
So fully submerged.
Yeah.
He was fully submerged.
With the sand and the weeds and everything, you'll see that coming up. This is the set that was built inside the high school gym, the interior of his house. I lived on that set. Instead of going home at night, I would do the couch, because there was a big shower room there, because it was a high school gym. Wake up, shower, and go to work.
Pretty nice place,
Yeah.
actually.
Oh, I loved it. There was
Where'd you sleep?
on that couch.
on Leslie's-
on that
on that couch?
On that couch.
We've lit it perfectly, Beth, that you'd never guess in a million years that was a set.
Yeah.
Just
Now
feels like-
this painting that's above these monitors,
Yeah.
you have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Bamba has the Buddha.
The Buddha that's in his
Yeah.
bedroom. But speaking of paintings, just there's a painting of the actor who plays the father in Father's Day.
Oh,
that
John
guy?
Lormer?
Yeah, yeah. Do you know where that painting?
When, no, I don't know that. But Cletus did the
Yeah.
painting here. Huge painting.
Well, didn't he also do John Lormer?
Oh, there's your head
Yeah,
again.
I
That's
think
your-
he did, yeah. But he did it at the last minute. We needed something in a frame to slide up over the screens and uncover the screens. And Cletus did that at the last minute. He whapped it together. I mean, he was putting the last strokes on it when we were hanging it. Cletus was really... Whoa!
Glop.
It's the one moment he almost feels bad about it in the entire episode. It's the
You
only
think he feels bad?
at that point.
I don't think.
Well, he's he's hearing the screams, and it's just the one moment he kind of looks away, and then right
The
after that,
fun's over.
yeah, he's killing them now,
It's over now.
Yeah.
His whole reason for
doing everything.
existing, you know. Now what does he do? Now
there you
that's
go.
Ted in the tank.
Light comes up from behind him, and at any moment you were ready to smash him out of there.
Yeah, but boy, this was it was actually pretty scary. I mean, we had people with regulators, divers that had regulators that were ready to stick one in his mouth.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it doesn't take long for something to go wrong.
That's the same water tank that the miniature crate was dumped into on the set
For
to
the
look
crate.
like it was going in the quarry. And also where the remains of Adrian popped up later on.
All right.
You know, that was actually really hard to bury that TV in the sand and make it look undisturbed and
Yeah,
like it had actually.
I'll bet. Also, the bucket plays a part here too. The
Yeah.
bucket being buried shows you
That it's
what happened to the
washed out.
people. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, like right there.
Tide pulled him out.
Windy day. Look at them pants flapping.
It's funny how little
we
details.
went.
will sell
We were
stuff.
only down there for I think 2 or 3 days or whatever.
Really? That's it? It was only a couple days?
In Jersey, yeah, because all the sets were in Pittsburgh.
Right.
But you know, we went out one evening to a restaurant with Leslie, and of course everybody recognized him, and you know, but when these people would come up and say hello, and he'd blow off his fart machine. Hello. And,
He
you know,
had it on the Letterman show once.
Oh, yeah.
He was a guest. To get a rise out of Letterman, you know.
Right.
He farted.
Yeah, he had the machine. He eventually pulled it out and showed him what
Well,
it was.
yeah, I would hope so. Otherwise, yeah.
Because Letterman was like a little embarrassed.
I've never seen what it was. I mean, it's just I couldn't imagine how this thing could be so
Oh, I have one.
have such high fidelity
I have
and
one.
keep it in your pocket, hidden
Yeah.
in your hand.
It's a little cylinder with a hole at the end, and you squeeze it, and it forces the air into your palm,
Right.
which does the blap, you know.
You have one?
Yeah, yeah. You can get them in novelty stores.
I was wondering.
I know the scene in, what's the one he did with Priscilla Presley?
Oh, when they're walking out of the movie
They're
theater.
walking out of
laughing
Platoon
Right,
and
yeah.
laughing. I know that he cracked her up
With the
and
fart
himself
machine.
up. In fact, later on, the scene where he does crack up in front of the thing behind him, the comic book thing, I'm sure he's doing that just to crack the crew up and himself, you know.
Now, I always thought it was. I always read it. Of course, I saw this movie when I was a kid, but when he's looking through all his videotapes, all the tapes he's labeled, that's his private collection of all the horrible shit he's done to people. That's how I always read it. You know, because I mean, you can't believe he's had this set up before. He's too good at this. So imagine how many wives has he had that he's gotten rid of over the years,
Only the ones that,
pissed him off.
yeah,
or
I was going to
just-
say that. Can we say piss him off?
Yeah. we
Okay.
can-
Shadows. Look out.
Oh, wait, this is for the British people, so
Right.
he's a wanker.
He's a. But maybe someday the Americans will hear this and be like, a wanker.
What's a
What's
wanker?
Tom? What's Tom talking about?
Get that word into the vocabulary. It's a good word.
Yeah, wanker. You wanker.
You
There's the
wanker.
Buddha.
There's a Buddha.
That's the Buddha.
I filmed Bomba's interview in front of the Buddha, so the
really?
Buddha is behind.
Interesting. People must have just walked away with stuff. I have all the bookcases in Hal Holbrook's study in
study.
my bedroom.
Dave Burien has one of the crates.
Who?
Dave Burien, friend of mine in Pittsburgh. Yes.
Oh, he has E.G. Marshall. He has the crate. He just buys stuff left and right.
We had these critters in a fish tank. The fish tank was real, and it was there in the,
Shooting
on the set.
Oh, they would put me to sleep. I'd be on the couch just staring at those fish.
at the fish and just at
You
the,
know? Now, when Ted and Galen come in, they backstage in the special effects lab, in their makeup, they were going through the lines, but they were doing it as hillbillies. We begged them to please do one take in front of George and the camera, the way you're doing. And they didn't do it, but it was
you have a little bit
belly
of it.
laughs.
You have a little bit of it on your behind the scenes stuff.
Do I?
Yeah, because they're just sitting there going, "We won't see you, Richard." Yep, that's right. Come on to the beach, Richard. They're just
Is that right?
Yeah, they're
I
just-
didn't know any of this.
Oh,
Wow,
they were
man.
hilarious backstage, you know.
All right, Richard, we just want you to come down to the beach.
Can you imagine if they walked in doing
Oh,
that?
that would have been hilarious.
The water turned them into Southern Hicks or something. Now this is all a set. The jacuzzi worked. The
Everything
shower
worked.
Yeah.
Everything worked, man. I mean, Cletus went to great lengths to get this stuff for real. I mean, there was real water in that shower.
Here they come.
This video will not help him since they can't be seen on video. Ah,
There's the
there's-
ashtray.
There's the ashtray.
Ta-da!
So that's we've at least identified it twice.
2 out of 5.
2 out of 5. Well, yeah, we
Well,
have
2 out of 3.
so
two out of three.
We
Yes,
got to go back to
we
Jordy
missed it in
and
Jordy
see
Verrill.
where it is.
Yeah.
It may have been cut out. I'm telling you. I don't know.
but it wasn't cut out. We got a good shot of it here. So
We had to make a cast of his gun right there to make a rubber gun, so when he throws it,
Throws
it
it.
bounces off one of their heads, you know.
I'll shoot you dead.
All these raked angles and, comic booky kind of things.
yeah, everything's tilted and slightly askew, and
Yeah.
it feels like it just jumps right off the page.
It's a comic book.
It is a comic.
It is a comic book, man. I mean, that's what we was trying to do. Oh,
Dun, dun,
my
dun.
God.
Lights have changed.
Bloop, bloop.
Light, subtle change in the light. Aquamarine.
Did you do stuff to their voice to market
Yeah, we messed up the voice to make them sound.
waterlogged?
Yeah, watery.
So Tom, how was that makeup accomplished? There, you just kind of
It was built up on their life cast. It wasn't a piece, like a prosthetic piece. It was built up with tissue paper and just to get that wrinkly, watery.
right.
I think realistically they would have been bigger, bloated more. You
Sure.
know? But just to get that, you know how your fingers get if you're in water too
Right.
long. That's what I was looking for, trying to create on their faces. We did her legs, and their hands and his face, of course. Yep, there's the guy.
You did her legs.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You never see them.
No, I know. It was fun doing her legs though, because I did it all the way up to her
Oh,
thighs.
Oh my God, poor Galen.
Now right here was supposed to be when he would slam the door on Danson's hand, and
Right.
the hand, and Rick did the animation, and he was supposed to. The hand grabs his leg, he kicks it into the tub, and that's how he gets rid of it. Doy. That's great. Look at that.
Leslie Nielsen's just selling it for all it's worth, man.
Oh man, he's just fabulous. He goes right into laughter.
Oh, he's now he's gone around
It's like
the band.
the guy in The Mummy who just laughs hysterically when
Yeah.
he sees something scary. You
Right.
know?
Well, that shot holds
Now
up.
here, he's got to be hitting the fart machine here. He's just cracking himself up.
No, he was just
Doing it.
acting.
Just doing it. We should get him on Inside the Actors Studios.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Hold my breath for a long time. Ba-da-bing. And all these ins and outs to the drawings couldn't be done until we had shot the film. So that was a complication, because the effects people were waiting for our footage before they could do a match into it.
Do you know this guy's name?
Don Kiefer.
See, since working with him on this movie, I see him as a young guy.
Oh,
Twilight Zones and
all over
so
the
much
place.
stuff.
This guy, Don Kiefer's been around forever. He's another, like John Lorimer guy. Maybe more. Maybe has done more roles.
Character.
He's still around. Don Kiefer's.
Really?
Yeah, he's still around. He was in Liar, Liar, I believe, with Jim Carrey not too long ago. But you see him in lots of stuff.
Yeah. The crate. The crate full of Fluffy.
How much time did we spend in this little crawl space down there?
Fritz.
My man Fritz, my man Hal.
Just point the camera and say action. Gems.
Great. Adrienne, just great.
Cletus. There's Cletus Anderson right there.
Oh, yeah, there he is.
That's him right there on the left.
Tabby and Richard Raymond. They're new with us in the math department.
How do you do? What a lovely name you have.
Thank you. Actually, it's Tabitha.
Of course, Hal was best known for Mark Twain.
I was just thinking what a thrill it was to just see Hal Holbrook. I had watched him as a kid on the Brighter Day soap opera, and then Mark Twain just blew me away, of course.
He was playing the most henpecked husband of all time. He's just retreated so much back and just being this, shallow little guy, and all of a sudden he gets an opportunity to do something about it.
It's cooking. He's working.
Oh man, you see it. I tell you what, on set I never could appreciate everything that Hal was doing more than any other actor I've ever worked with. I'd be there on the set and I'd say, he didn't do so much.
He's doing so little, yeah.
And then we saw the dailies and he was fabulous. I mean, he was perfect.
It's all these little expressions and little glances that he gives. Just like, oh God, kill me now.
I mean, look at that, like that shot. I mean, there's so much there.
And if Dex Stanley hadn't had his teeth capped, he'd have been out on his ass years ago.
I think this is the first time I've ever heard the C word.
Well, it's not in that's the funny thing about that, when she says that that whoever that etiquette cunt is, that's the line. But in the version that was released, it was dubbed over to say crotch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I heard.
I had
I'm
a
not
version
kidding.
where
That's how it is. Although in like the work print that's been circulating for years, it says cunt.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, maybe people in '82 just weren't ready for the C word. I don't know.
Well, Steve has always been the one to, break those barriers, or to, so he doesn't give a shit, I think, about anything conventional, which is fine with me. And
right.
I had no problem going with it.
Right.
Everything else. But I didn't realize they had cut it out anywhere.
You sure that wasn't just for the TV version?
No, that's always been the one. Remember, it's always been that way.
Look at these guys are just they're so subtle, they're perfect.
They're the pros from Dover.
Yeah.
And then, Tom, Fritz had a very memorable role in the Tales from the Dark Side that you did inside the closet. A couple years after this.
And it is very well edited. I mean, Paul Hirsch edited this, and we were all intimidated by Paul because he won
was the
the
Star
Oscar
Wars guy,
for
wasn't he?
Star Wars, yeah. And but when you look at this, it's really very, very well edited.
The wind's really kicking up outside now. It's just like,
too bad you can't hear that.
It's perfect.
What I just love about this episode is the implications. It's like, so if Fluffy's been sitting in there all this time.
It's over 100 years.
Yeah. What's he been doing?
Hanging out.
Hibernating.
And I always understood, why does Hal Holbrook think drowning him is going to solve the problem?
It doesn't. He breaks out.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, guys, creature's been sitting in there with no air, no food, no nothing for 100 years. I don't think a little water's going to harm him that much. But at the end of the day,
Well, I asked Rick Catazone and Phil Wilson to come up with some sketches of what, because the script said we see a blur of fur, and some teeth. That was it, a blur of fur and some teeth. Oh, this is good. This is now here. There's an appliance on her head, an explosive on the back of her head, and Daryl Ferrucci was operating the blood. So I said to him, "Don't pump that blood until I tell you." I never told him. So no blood gushed out of that hole, because I was concentrating on the air blowing the hole out of her forehead, sinking it with the explosion on the back of her head. So, but you do get a zets coming out of the back of her head.
Oh, you see it. Yeah, for sure. Oops, back to reality.
He just looks so disappointed.
Just wishes he could have done it.
Yeah.
He just blew her brains out in his mind, so.
But it's a perfect setup, right, for what he wants to do to her. And there's another one later where he tries to strangle her.
This part is so unlike Adrienne in real life. I mean, it's such a completely different persona. It was always, and I had never seen her do anything like that hinted that she could go so completely over the top like this. I mean, she was amazing in this part.
Well, in life, Adrienne's such a sweetie pie, and here she plays such a shrew that it's if you know her,
She still looks the same too at
she
conventions.
Right.
She had twins at the age of 50, I think.
53.
Yeah.
53. Wow. The crate. I just traded that crate to Greg Nicotero for Gort, the robot.
No, you're kidding.
Daters, I have Gort's in my bedroom now.
You have Gort in your bedroom?
Full-size Gort. I just had to have it.
Which I don't know how you got up there.
How high is your ceiling?
It's like, Gort's like 8'5", and the ceiling is 9. His
you
head
just
is on.
made it.
Just made it.
How'd you get him in?
Oh, it was tough. It was tough. But he had to be in my bedroom, one way or another.
But every time I see you at a show, it seems like you're always buying some 6'5" statue.
I just bought the full-size Terminator robot last weekend. And
I'm like,
Monster Mania.
Yeah,
and that's in my gym now.
Right, yeah. And you bought a Gill Man at it last year.
That's in the backyard, covered in snow. Oh, but I was talking about Fluffy now. So I asked Rick Catazone and Phil Wilson to come up with some sketches on what they think Fluffy should look like. And then I did some sketches, and we presented them to George and Stephen King. And they chose one of my sketches, and that's why Fluffy looks the way he does. Although, in retrospect, I think he should be skeletal, because he's not eaten in so many. Right. But it's a comic book, so,
Yeah, if you're gonna worry about how could he possibly survive in there and let that ruin your enjoyment.
Well, it's not about food, is it?
Well, we did give him a huge mouth. If he's going to be eating people, he needs to have this huge kind of mouth.
Wrap it around.
And I had no idea how to build a Fluffy, an articulated creature like this. So I called Rob Bottin, who had done Howling. But Tanya's Island was this big gorilla creature that he constructed. So over the phone for an hour and a half, he explained step by step on how to build an articulated creature. Meantime, before this, we all went to LA for the premiere of Knight Riders. And I went to Rob's house and saw the mechanisms for the Howling John Carradine's head. And that's when I learned how to build one before we built them. This is the first articulated creature I ever made.
It's a great creature. I mean, unfortunately, you don't see too much of his capabilities. But,
well, I mentioned that you were sad. You came to me in your office and said, you know what, the guy who edited this thing did not show a lot of Fluffy. And I was pleased because my feeling is when you see the whole monster in a movie, oh, that's it. That's it? Okay, I can deal with that. And you're not afraid of it anymore, Getting bits and pieces of it, like Alien and like what you see of Fluffy, I think helps. It's almost like a shark not working in Jaws.
Right. What a blessing in disguise that turned out to be. Because we don't really get to see much of Fluffy. There's only a couple really full shots of him, and then that's it.
And they're quick, which is good.
They're quick. It's only a couple.
So you're left with the
But
impression
you know,
of
you really don't. Well, when you see the shark in Jaws, first of all, it looks rubber when it comes up and bites.
Robert Shaw, yeah.
You know,
Yeah, but that's why he was wise to keep it off,
yeah,
as much as possible.
and you know, it's like when you see the alien in the end of Alien, it's a guy in a suit,
Yeah.
right?
Finally, but
It
only at
gives
the
it-
very end.
At the
When
very
they
end,
blast
when
him
he
with the
gets
rocket,
blown
yeah.
out of the tube,
Right.
whatever. But it destroys the image somehow. I mean, it really does sort of go,
Yeah.
what? Oh, it's
And
just a guy.
but with Fluffy, you never get enough. You never get enough to really go.
Yeah.
"Oh, wait a minute, what's this?"
And you know, in Alien, it's even hard to justify how that suit makes sense with
Right.
what you saw earlier. It
Yeah. Doesn't match what you've
it
been
doesn't
seeing.
anatomically make sense
Sure.
with what you saw.
Because you had
before.
to try to imagine what he looked like. You only saw a tail, or you
Head
saw
or
teeth.
teeth.
teeth coming out.
So your mind constructs this weird thing, and then you see a guy in a suit, and you're like, "Wait, what?" Huh?
But in here, the threat is there.
Right.
From the moment he kills this janitor guy, he's
Well, the threat, we don't see him. We don't see anything here except some eyes
blood gushing out of
and blood. But we don't see anything of the creature.
Right.
But we
And,
know.
I mean, this stuff I think really works well.
Well, the setup's great because we know something's in there. Something bad's about to happen. We just can't conceive of.
Right.
And once again, it's Daryl Ferrucci, the
Yes.
plant guy from Geordie Verrill. Well, he's going to be there all the time. Let him be the creature. You know, he's going to be there. We actually cast his body, and Barbara Anderson had one of her students build his body out of the foam, and of course we painted it and put the hair on it. You know. And we had to send him to New York to have his eyeballs cast for these special hard lenses he wears as Fluffy. You'll see an eyeball pretty soon in here, both of his eyes. And they were hard to keep upright. They were cat eyes, you know. They kept, most of the time we were doing is keeping his eyes up, you know, on camera.
I can't see a friggin' thing.
So the inference is that you kind of just assume he is the Tasmanian devil
Yeah.
at the end of the
I
day.
mean, he's something beyond our ken. Doesn't matter.
That needs chains around the box.
Right.
Yeah, I was.
Okay, here he comes, I think. There's a quick shot of, it's cool. It's their eyes and then
his eyes, looking
Fluffy's
back.
eyes. There you go. Yep. A microsecond.
And those red lights, and
What the hell was that?
you just hear the crunching and the ugh. I mean, the sound mix on the sound effects used in this movie were wonderful because it helps infer more than you're seeing anyway.
I know, but can you really do this? I mean, could this really happen to a guy? Can you actually get dragged? It's like in Steve's story, The Raft. Can you pull a guy through a 1-inch crack and have nothing left but his wedding ring? I mean,
I don't know if you can, but it sure is fun to see it happen
fun
anyway.
to see it happen.
Carpenter pulled a whole woman through a window pane,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, but this guy, I just like how the janitor just gets literally just. There he is.
Hey,
Ugh.
first glimpse.
You see him
of
drool?
You see him drool, and you see a big bunch of teeth, and that's, I mean, that sells it right
Now,
there.
those teeth will cut you. The teeth in the real Fluffy head like that. There were two Fluffies. That one was the real Fluffy with really sharp teeth. We built a puppet for biting, like when he bites Adrian and the student, and they were rubber teeth.
He just gets swallowed
You
up
know, I
in the.
still have the puppet.
Oh, yeah.
We could have shot some footage of that damn thing. But it was in storage and buried now.
Now this is a real hallway out at
Carnegie Mellon
This is
University.
Carnegie Mellon.
it's Robert Harper as Charlie Garrison.
See him a lot too.
Oh, he's been in tons of stuff, Law and Orders, all that stuff. He pops up a lot.
Robert Harper, really good actor. I mean, he sells this 100%. You just complete. I mean, you know, it's the whole thing to keep a straight face, even though the stuff is outrageous and silly and ridiculous. The whole idea is to keep a straight face through it.
Well, you have to commit to it, otherwise, if you're
have to
winking at
commit
the
to it,
audience, it doesn't work.
They are playing it serious and straight.
Yeah,
Not like comic book or
Oh,
like
yeah, no, they're
Stephen King, but
they're in it for 100%.
something's going on down there. Whether They should have called the cops immediately, The janitor was just eaten by something in a box,
Yeah, but who? There was nobody there
Yeah.
except.
And how do you call the cops? It's like, oh, there was this thing in a box and it ate my janitor. I mean, his instincts
Right,
were.
there's a blob eating
Yeah,
people
exactly.
on the street, yeah.
Well, I mean, Fritz might have been running to call the cops, but he ran into
Ran into this
Robert.
guy, got distracted. Yeah. And Fritz is so completely
He's-
gone at this point.
He's fritzed.
Well, they had to do it. They had to do it this way, or Hal would not have a way out of Adrian.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You've been off on a hell of a toot. No.
And they convinces him, well, let's go check it out. No problem over here.
Yeah, this guy's just too curious.
Yeah, he just wants to see, oh man, what did this
I'm gonna
crazy
go
guy
see how the
do?
land lay.
Yeah. He gets down there.
Well, Fritz is on the verge of a nervous breakdown. Oh, his reaction when he goes after this, when he goes to hellhole,
Yeah.
It's just priceless.
Who? Fritz?
Fritz, yeah, he can't talk and he just
can't.
starts laughing.
He just starts laughing. No, he's wonderful. He's Fritz's. Great. And this stuff too. When I forget the name of the character, but when he gets first, now he's realizing, oops. The old Faco shock there, hand on the shoulder. Give me a break.
Do all horror movies have to have the hand on the shoulder?
Got to.
Yes.
Got to. Otherwise,
Well, there's good ways to
What
do
do
it.
they call that? When the cat jumps through a window and
Fake scare.
Huh? It's a fake scare, yeah, but is there a name for that? Or
I don't
chair
know.
jumper?
I don't know. I don't know if they've named that particular type of scare.
But I mean, Fritz is the actors are so wonderful in this, and that's exactly what
Brilliant.
sells it. Completely. They're just completely into it.
Oh, they believe it, and you wouldn't
Believe
if
it.
they're not,
I
yeah.
mean, they're just absolutely there. Now, this thing, when this guy goes in there, and of course, we're not tipping anything ahead of time by saying he's going to get his ass. But
say that again, please.
He's going to get his ass.
He's gonna get his ass. Okay.
But remember, what was that? I said, build a big bronze claw.
Oh, we did. Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
George, I can't raise this thumb any higher than that
Because
of the bronze claw.
Oh,
that
shit.
thing weighed 50 pounds, and I had a handle on it, and it was for scenes where the claw would miss and take a chunk out of the wall
Right.
or scratch or something. So swinging that around, I severed. It's called the extensor pollicis longus tendon. That's how I know because the doctor, and that's it. I can't raise that thumb any higher because of Fluffy's bronze claw.
And we built this thing so that you could take a swat with a claw, and it would be heavy enough to actually destroy shit.
Take a
chunk out of a
yeah,
wall.
Scratch,
Chunk out of
scratch the
whatever.
plaster,
And I'm sorry, I didn't know that
Oh
story.
yeah, this is it. I lost the use of that thumb, which of course George screws up my mime and my sleight of hand. Look, see? Look,
Can't
there
do
it
those
is.
coin tricks
There it
anymore.
is. That was the end of my magic career.
Oh man.
But for the art,
Oh yeah, sure. But what I'm trying to think is where did we use it?
Where did we use it?
Where did we use
I
it?
don't know.
Is it actually in the movie?
Okay, here comes the claw.
There's the claw.
The
There's
drilling
something
teeth.
where it... Oh, that's... I
Now, that
think
was
that's
the
the
soft
widest
quote.
shot you see.
There.
This is the widest shot you see of Fluff.
And it was in that scene that he does crawl towards
Crawl,
you
yeah.
on the magic floor. And it was my arm cutting him, but Daryl attacks him in the suit.
I always thought it was so disturbing. Just like
Yeah.
rips the back of his head right off.
And now there's like 3 guys under there with Fluffy to pull the actor out. Because Daryl couldn't possibly do it on his knees and all that. So there's like zip.
Zets, that's the end of him. That's the name of that tune. And this scene, this was the first time that I'm looking at Hal Holbrook, and he's like, this is a wonderful actor. And I said, you know, tame it down a little bit. And right here, what the hell happened to you? Or whatever he says right there. And so just, and you know, it was amazing. I mean, here's me. This is my first time working with real, you know, honest to God pros, and I gave an instruction or a direction, and the guy took it and he said, you know, that was a good idea.
That had to make you feel good.
Gave me confidence, you know, forever and ever. And this is the scene you're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean,
Look.
It's just hysterical.
he just goes.
Because it's unbelievable,
Yeah.
you know, what he's talking about.
He's like, how do I explain this exactly? It couldn't possibly have happened.
But the change in his voice when he goes from the hysteria to the serious, you know,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
I guess he got his chance.
These guys were fabulous. They were just great.
We had to believe these guys
We
were
were
old
so
friends,
lucky to
man.
get them. I mean, they just are, you know, 100%.
And now the wheels are beginning to turn for Hal Holbrook.
The only hint is, I think, when he slips him a Mickey.
Yeah, he's just no, because he's getting it now.
Yeah, like-
More than a hint.
Yeah.
He's getting it right there in that shot. You know, he's not worried about
Right
his
there.
buddy.
Yeah.
He's thinking about what can I make out of this?
What can I do?
How can I profit from this?
What can I do?
I mean, you just.
But he's got to trust this guy. He's got to trust Fritz now.
Yeah.
You know, his good chess buddy here. He's got to.
He's got to knock him out for the time being, but he's got to trust he's going to go along.
Because no
with it
matter, because
afterwards.
what he's going to do afterwards is going to have to be explained
Right.
to.
So you have these bookshelves, Tom? Is that what you said?
Yes, all the bookcases in his room there, or in my bedroom.
What a friend.
What a friend's
for.
for.
And he's just like, I'm going to get to kill her.
This story was previously published by Steve as a short story, so it was, I guess, a little easier for him to write this screenplay.
Was this the only one of the 5 that was previously published?
No, I think. Oh gosh, I don't remember. I think one of the others. Maybe Geordie was pre-published. I don't know. I'm not a historian. You have to research this. But there he goes. All these shots. Mike got all his stuff. Man, we used to make 1,000
Ashtray.
shots.
The ashtray was right there next to the note he was writing.
Yeah, but we've seen it in this story.
Not in this one. This is the first time we'd seen it in this
is
story.
that right?
Yeah. We
This is
saw
the
it in
fourth-
Something
this
to
is the
Tide
fourth
You
one.
Over. So we've seen it now in Father's Day, Something to Tide You Over, and Decree. We missed it in Geordie
So
Verrill.
that's 3.
3 out of 4.
Yeah. That's a pretty good batting average. That's not bad.
It's pretty good. We got to find it in Geordie, and it may not be there. It may either have been cut out, probably cut out, because I know that we had it there, but somewhere, but I don't know where. Maybe it has green all over it.
Where is it as a soap dish?
In They're Creeping Up on You.
Ah, okay.
I mean, Hal plays this so straight. I mean, there's no other way to do it, right? I mean,
Yeah. I mean, if you
something this arch, what are you gonna, what do you do except play it completely straight?
if you're playing it to the camera or winking at it, the audience isn't going to buy any of this.
Yeah.
They're not going to buy into the dramatics of it at all.
Just like you can't play funny. It's either funny or.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Play
The
this-
greatest jump, the greatest scare that I've ever in any of my films was this thing when he knocks a mop and it clacks against the wall. And it was it's the biggest jump that I've ever gotten. It was a silly little thing. And I told the sound guys, just make that thing when it hits the wall a little louder.
Yeah.
And chink, boy, in the silence,
Yeah, because there's no other sound at all
there's
at that
no
point.
other sound. It makes the whole audience goes blink off their chairs 6 inches. Biggest jump that
Is a mop.
in any of my films.
Well, because the suspense exists already. You know that.
Yeah, you don't know where Fluffy is. Is he
Gonna,
back?
and then when he puts the lock on.
Oh, that one's a killer.
Well, it's a very suspenseful scene to begin with. I mean, I think it works that way, first of all. But, you never... It's amazing how, you can say, well, I'll have this guy jump out of a closet, or I'll do this, and
Right.
bada boom, bada bing, and make it as startling as possible, and it's never as startling as you expect it to be. And this little moment with him knocking over the mop
Just
was the biggest jump ever.
well, it's all in how you have the audience at that point. If they're just waiting for something,
Yeah.
you can do anything to them at that point.
And this sequence was, I don't know, it was tough because it was hard to keep track. I didn't know we were going to completely intercut this so freely.
Oh yeah.
And so I was trying to shoot each sequence as if it was its own sequence.
Right.
And then later we decided, well, we should just intercut it and make it sort of simultaneous action.
Well, it's great because we're seeing how he's racing
What
against
he's
time.
doing, right, exactly, and what's happening to her.
Is he going to get it all cleaned up before she shows
yeah.
up?
Yeah. But it was a last-minute decision to intercut it, and I think it works much, much better. And John's music.
Oh, it's that no, and it's just like, it's like, is he gonna finish? Is he? I mean, he just keeps bringing it. It's wonderful. All mixes together so well.
Sure. It says something about her that she mixes alcohol and milk.
Milk. Hey, come on, scotch and milk. It's good for the stomach.
So it's the drink and the antidote at the same time.
It's the most innocuous drink, and it's like fusing it with a shot of booze.
And Adrienne was just so game. I mean, she did this, like she was, glamour queen, and she just let herself be a total bitch here, and just, went balls out for it. She was great.
Because you hate her. You hate everything about her. I mean, you just can't stand her.
Well,
You want Fluffy to chomp on her.
Yeah, but I don't necessarily hate everything about her. She still looks pretty good.
Well,
If
Well,
only
there-
she weren't
there's
such
that.
a bitch. Yeah. If
Yeah,
only,
exactly.
If only she's a hot chick. If only she weren't. But the pretty ones are all crazy.
But as you so often say, what would I do without you?
What indeed, Henry? What indeed?
Oh boy, what fun this was, Tom.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, this whole thing was, I don't know, the big. Well, we had a lot of fun and a lot of movies.
There were so many highlights that to look forward to and to achieve, and then to achieve it, there was happiness.
And it was innocence. We weren't yet swallowed by the studio system and by all the garbage. And, we were having a good time over there,
Yeah.
thinking that we were,
I mean, it wasn't never a job. It was
no, it was
just
like, hey,
fun. Yeah.
right.
Well, we get to build a creature. We get to kill people. We turn Stephen King into a plant. You cockroaches. I mean, who you don't do this every day.
No. That's the big secret, with all of us back in those days when, in the early days, all through, from Night of the Living Dead through this, through Night Riders, through all the way until, sort of
Like around Day and Monkey Shines, I guess.
yeah, Monkey Shines. Monkey Shines was the first one, and even Monkey Shines I had a pretty good time on, but it was a studio picture, and it brought with it, those studio woes, and before that we were just, we were free range, man. free range chickens. Doing whatever the hell we want.
It's a good company name.
Free range.
Free range.
No, free range chickens.
Free range chickens.
Yeah.
No, we ain't chickens though.
Can I use that?
Yeah,
You can use
you
that.
can use that. Okay, yeah, we
Want me
allow
to sign something?
Instead of Tom Savini Limited, free
Free
range.
Range Chickens Incorporated.
What the hell does that mean?
Listen to the Creepshow.
They have to listen to this
Yeah,
to
they
find
have to
out.
figure out what the hell you're talking about.
He does this. This moment, he does this so that. I mean, just so.
He's just so nervous. 'cause
perfectly.
He's so
And
nervous.
then he can't stop from laughing. I mean,
It's
how
absurd.
perfect is this performance? It's like,
Oh.
it's like he just can't keep himself together.
Well, he can put up with any abuse at this moment because
Yeah.
he knows.
I know, but
It's
check it
going
out
to-
right here, right here. Look at this. He's sucking it up, and he can't resist a little chuckle.
He's got to turn away so she doesn't see the laugh. Yeah.
Because even he can't hold it together at this point. It's like, what am I doing? This is so absurd.
But he has to make up a story too now.
Right, because he can't possibly back
What's
out
so
now.
funny? Well,
But you don't understand. Any one of you try to stand there and do that and pull that off.
I mean,
so subtly.
Oh,
It's just like.
Because he's having to act like four emotions at once.
You're talking about Hal Holbrook.
Yeah, I know. But
who does Mark Twain imitating a slave who is imitating a kid. He did all the voices, you know.
Still.
It's a remarkable feat.
He's just brilliant.
He has to be nervous, anxious, and hysterical all at the same time.
Right.
And still keep it
and
under
holding
wraps.
it together.
Yeah, he has to hold it under wraps.
And he is holding it together because the stakes are so high. This is my only chance to get rid of you, Wilma.
It's like, I gotta get the bitch under the stairs. I've got to do it. Please hold it. Don't let me blow it.
And he knows her so well that he knows that if he tells her that story, that she's so curious.
Oh, of course. Because she delights in other people's misery.
Well, now he's found the key right there. He's
just
found the key, and he's like.
And then, of course, Fluffy doesn't come out. Right away, anyway.
Right.
What are you doing, Henry?
Since right here you want Fluffy to jump out and just grab her. You know?
But Fluffy's just like, I'm full. I really don't need anything else at this point.
Oh no, it has to go through this thing. He's like, he's figuring, come out, wherever you are.
He's actually bouncing her off the crate to wake Fluffy up.
Wake up!
Now, he's never seen Fluffy at this point.
So at this point, it could all be a bunch of
He
crap.
doesn't even know, yeah.
But it could be something in Dexter's head.
Well, but the blood, you know.
But still,
Now she still deballs him here.
Oh, completely. Just humiliating.
Literally makes a reference to his balls, you know.
I swear to God, I'm going to wear your balls for earrings.
Actually, Fluffy's going to wear...
Her performance in this moment is just absolutely priceless. Because
whap.
Just unloads on the truck.
He's thinking, oops. Might I have made a mistake here?
It's like, I really...
Am I still doomed?
That's his lowest moment right there.
Right.
It's just like, oh God,
Nothing's
I'm going to be
happening.
stuck with this woman for the rest of my life.
And now she's been hitting me with a purse. So instead of verbal abuse, it's now going to be physical from this point on.
No good at making an
Oops. Poor guy.
He had it within his grasp.
Well, he may have been right after all.
Well, wait, now, he takes the lock off.
Yeah.
Earlier he takes the lock off. Yeah, that's in the earlier scene. And that was another shocker. What? Look at this. Look at these scrims behind their heads. Outrageous, huh?
He's disgusted and happy at the same time.
But look at this. Hal had to sit there and stay in the moment. And so did Adrienne, while we put these scrims up and set them up. And the moment never breaks. They continued the performance as though it was, seamless.
Right, because they're not even acting to Fluffy. They're not even looking at what they're supposed to be seeing.
What? Fluffy was not there.
Yeah.
Do you remember the remains of Adrienne?
Yeah, I do. Is that shot's not even in?
No, it's not in here. No.
Not in the movie.
But he's got plenty of shots of it.
Just floats out of the crate at the end.
Yeah, in the end, when the crate is submerged, her face floats up to the surface. And we never really got it. We shot it in that tank, and it never
It was
looked
hard,
deep
yeah.
enough.
It was hard to get that to
get
rise face first,
Yeah. So we decided that we didn't need it. But there was this shot that we shot in the same tank that Ted Danson... Oh, here's the lock thing. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah. This is where you
just
expect him
putting
to...
it right there.
Yeah.
And
a microsecond later...
Yeah.
And this little click of the lock...
Oh. Yeah.
That was also an audience jump. And he just
barely gets it over. Yeah.
When swing it around, clink. Over the chair.
Oh.
Clink, clink. Made it. Patunk. I mean, it was, you know, I don't know. It's
The crate works extremely well.
It really works very well.
I mean, it's you know, it has you on the edge of your seat, and it has you just delighting in the performances of all these people.
And
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's the people that bring it to life. I mean, it's the actors that always bring it to life.
Yeah.
And now it's Greg Nicotero's son's toy chest.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
What?
It's his toy chest.
Oh, is that what he uses the crate for?
Well, he has the crate now. And it's full of-
He has the crate. You mean he's actually using the crate as his son's
It's his
toy
son's
chest?
toy chest. Well, Rubenstein does the same thing in his apartment. It's his daughter's toy chest.
You're
little
kidding.
crate?
Yeah, one of the big crates.
Oh, yeah.
There's a miniature one somewhere.
Are they still bloody?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes, they are.
The whole front of it is
Drenched.
dried old red blood.
Where did they go? I mean, how much could it eat?
This stuff, I remember trying to shoot these things. This is poor man's process. We're in a studio. We're not actually not driving. And these things, this was another matte painting of the...
Mike has a great shot of that, a whole wide shot of just the slab, empty on both sides.
Is that right?
And then the movie, of course, you see
Yeah, you
The
see
whole,
the,
painted
whole
in,
Rider's
yeah.
Quarry.
this, the quarry.
Now, when it hits the water, it's a miniature crate falling into that water tank that Ted Danson was in.
This is a matte painting.
Yeah,
The quarry's a matte painting. That's a miniature
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
water.
But we have shots of Hal dropping that into a big canvas tarp.
Like, yeah.
A trampoline, actually, it looks like.
Later,
That same day,
There's no evidence of foul play.
I love that stuff. I mean, it's so campy and
Yeah,
silly,
but it fits.
doesn't destroy the. You know, despite everything that we did with all that stuff later, meanwhile, bada boom, all the comic book
Right.
headlines and everything, it doesn't destroy it because the performances hold up. And it's just like in a comic book. Well, I remember reading those comic books, and it would be silly. The Crypt Keeper would say silly sayings and all that, but the story was the story, and straight-faced.
well, it also reminds people that it's a comic book.
Yeah,
I love how now he's totally confident and
yeah.
But he still gives them a little one-upman, you know.
Yeah.
Here. How do you know I won't go? Please,
Right.
what are friends for?
it's like I haven't done anything to anybody.
Look at this simultaneous sit down.
I intend to kick your ass at chess for the rest,
the rest
of
of
your
your
Another
life.
beautiful set by Cletus.
Neither have I.
And Fritz is just now beginning to come around.
He's a little worried here.
It's like my former friend who I thought I understood has really gone over the edge.
Try to watch a CSI program where they figure out what happened to Adrian. You can't. There's no,
You can't. Yeah.
no evidence.
Yes, it's like, well, according to the evidence, strictly speaking, hey, she would have had to have been eaten by a creature in a box.
You're right.
We
But-
found her face, and there's some really weird DNA that we can't identify at all.
Yeah. So this one's going to be a cold case from now on.
It looks like a Tasmanian devil. This DNA.
Yeah, but that's just silly.
This
So if
was
this shot had continued, we would have seen her face probably
Yeah.
flying out.
Blue, blue.
right there. That's where it was supposed to be, and we wound up using these eyes, the repeat shot of the eyes that happened.
So what does he
earlier.
do? Does he swim to shore and then live off the land for a while?
Oh,
Or
who
finds
knows?
another box to sit in.
See, this is why we should make a sequel.
Hmm.
Find out where did Fluffy go?
Well, he goes somewhere. He goes to, New
He goes
Jersey.
to he goes to Starbucks.
He,
You know,
he evolves.
like everybody else does
He
these
evolves, right?
days. Oh boy.
Oh man, here we go. My man E.G.
I just remember.
What a pro. I mean, when we met E.G. I mean, this is a guy that had been in 1,000
Yeah.
movies and TV series and all that, and he came in and I'm sort of a little intimidated, and he turned out to be this regular guy. He's a journeyman
Yeah.
actor,
I remember him on The Defenders and
The Defenders, yeah.
12
A
Angry Men.
Plautus production.
And there is
The ashtray.
ashtray as a soap dish.
Okay.
So we got 4
got
out of 5. We didn't get Jordy Vero, but for everyone else at home, you find it in Jordy Vero.
Yeah, find it in Jordy, and
Please tell
you
us.
get the prize.
You get the prize. You get
I
to
ain't
say
saying
you
what the
found
prize is.
Well, we'll get Chris Stavrakis to send him an ashtray.
Chris is going to hear that and go, oh, no.
You know, I almost drove up here. I almost brought him along
Yeah.
as a film historian, Chris Stavrakis.
Yeah. I mean, it looked like E.G. Marshall was just having the time of his life with this dialogue. I mean, it was just...
Well, he loved the dialogue and loved being a mean son of a bitch and all that, but it was hard. I mean, it was hard. It was tough on him because we had to, say, okay, stand still, and we're going to put these roaches on you.
And he let the roaches be on
He
him.
let them crawl on
He
him.
let them crawl.
Man.
But the set, I mean, this was this tiny little set, basically. And we almost didn't shoot this because, we had run out of money. We've discussed that before, but, we had, there are a lot of shots like that shot of the telephone, this shot, which enabled E.G. to relax. He didn't have to do all the speeches,
Right.
He didn't have to do the whole 10 pages.
Right, because it's him talking to a phone. I mean,
It's
there's
him
nobody...
talking to a phone. So
Right.
if you show a shot of the phone, he doesn't have to, okay, we can break here and you can pick up the next speech.
Now, the people on the phone, do you remember who played some of the voices on the phones? You have...
Well, I remember Anne Muffley, I think.
Now, she's Mrs. Katzenmeyer.
Yeah.
Now, they credit on the IMDb, someone thinks it's Gwen Verdon.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah.
No, it was Anne Muffley.
Although it sounds like her, I can see how they might think that.
I thought it was Galen.
No, it was an actress named Anne Muffley. Bob Trow, one of Reach Cordick's old company, was one of the voices. I think they may be the only two. How many people
There were
called?
3 people. Well, wait. No, well, David Early actually has a voice, but we see him. So there's George Gendron and Mrs. Katzenmeyer.
Yeah.
I remember a meeting on the set where you actually asked all of us if we thought we should do the 5th episode, if we could gear up to actually, do all the stuff.
Get it together, yeah. Well, I know it was really under question there for a while. It was purely budgetary.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad. I mean,
we did it.
because, it's
what a
amazing.
topper.
It's the climax.
topper.
Icing on the cake.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone talks about this episode.
I mean, it
By
does.
me, I like the crate, and I like They're Creeping Up on You. I mean, those are, I think, terrific stories. And at the time, everybody was saying those stories are so good, you don't need anything else. And I was arguing that, but this is so outrageous, and people are gonna remember this,
Oh, yeah. And to come after the crate, which is an extremely strong story, to have something like this.
Yeah.
Which is...
You don't know where it's going.
No, you don't.
Roaches. It can handle roaches, just a couple of roaches. But then that couple turns into 28,000,
Yeah.
And then the final twist with E.G.
But, I mean, there is a phobia.
Oh.
So this
movie
telling me.
This movie gave me a fear of roaches.
I never picked one. Did you ever pick one of those roaches
I was
up?
never in the
these
same
guys,
room.
the entomologists would go, like in these scenes where there was only one roach,
Right.
they'd come in and just pick it up like it was a pretty pet cat or something. They'd pick it up. And they'd say, "Here, hold this for a minute." And I'd say, "Not me."
Just the idea of those legs. The idea of those scurrying legs on you.
You just don't want to have that in your hand, all that scratching.
Oh, no.
Bastards.
And what they did was they used, CO2 to sort of...
I don't know.
slow them down. They didn't, it wasn't... They used, I think, CO2
Just to kind of make them a
to
little...
sort of make them a little groggy
The cold.
for shots that when we needed them to
Stay
be
still.
on his robe for a
Right.
while.
It would slow them down.
Slow
The
them
cold
down.
would slow them down. Yeah.
So they would move, but they weren't, because boy, when they move, when without the CO2.
I
When
think
they
I-
move, they're gone in,
I think I remember them actually putting them in a freezer, a refrigerator freezer, and then taking like a tray or a Tupperware thing of them, and they would be slower, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, we should talk about the entomologists. They actually went to Trinidad and collected like 18 or more thousand roaches and bred.
Give me a break.
more-
250,000.
Ah, and they would breed them in this trailer that we spoke about earlier. And the trailer was called the Roach Motel. We called it the Roach Motel.
The Roach Coach.
And they collected these roaches by digging big holes in bat guano, bat shit in caves in Trinidad. Turn off the lights, the hole would fill up, turn the lights back on, load them into plastic bags, you know.
Yeah. I
And
mean, they sent photographs back where they were waist deep in roaches. I mean, just this sea of, like the last scene in this story, they were just that deep.
That deep.
And Ray said the bats in the caves where the roaches were don't use their sonar because they know the cave. So if you're standing in the way, you get a bat in the face, you know. And he said that a bat died, fell, and the roaches turned it inside out before they ate it.
Well, I'll remember that.
Yeah.
Well, it's just something that.
That's gross.
Yeah,
that's the power of
a million roaches.
roaches.
Yeah.
No, it was amazing, man. And the thing is, they're actually not dirty insects. Everyone thinks that they're dirty. They're not. They clean themselves and they shed. Now, let me tell you, the set stank.
Oh, I
often,
bet. Yeah.
Because when they freak, they
emit an
drop
odor.
everything. They
Oh, yeah.
they shit, they drop their eggs, they drop everything.
Well,
out of
you
their
can see in the movie there's roach turds all over the place in some of the shots.
So that they lighten their load and so they can move even faster. Not that you could catch them even when they was loaded, but and that's what it actually stank like an elephant house, you know, because there were so many of them, you know, freaking out.
So we've worked with roach shit, monkey shit.
Yeah, well, all kinds of.
On monkey shots.
We work with animals. Animals are us.
We supplemented the roaches though with peanut shells, painted black.
Well, in the huge
the
mass
stuff,
scenes
and the kitchen stuff.
Yeah.
It's like the one bit of personality in this whole place is that jukebox. It's the only thing that's got any real.
Well, it's amazing. I mean, I love the idea of having this little old Wurlitzer in there. A little bit of color.
Yeah.
But it's old, sad. You know, it makes you sort of sad. The
It's
old songs in this context. I mean, I could sit here and listen to old jazz, you know, for all night. But in this context, when it's all this guy has, there's something sad about it.
Yeah, it's his rosebud. It's his sled.
Exactly.
You know.
And it was great.
Also, he's gone through so much trouble to keep this hermetically sealed environment, you know.
And it's perfect because it's all white, so whenever one little roach shows up, it just stands out.
Yeah.
It's an invasion. It's such an
Did the
affront to this
screenplay
guy.
do that, or did you do that?
No, it was definitely in the screenplay. It was an all white Howard Hughes kind of hermetically sealed environment, you know. But Cletus again, you know, came up with it, built it. This stuff, this was, I thought, was amazing, amazing scene.
Yeah, you just have to kind of shoot and hope the roaches go somewhere where you want them to go at the end of the day. Here we
Well,
go.
there's nothing you can do except there's David Early in a cameo role.
It's Mr. White.
Mr. White. There's nothing you could do. I mean, when we got these shots later of the roach, we found out the entomologists told us that a roach won't cross a Vaseline line. So when we needed shots of roaches coming at us, we would draw 2 Vaseline lines and dump them out, and they would crawl towards us, and they wouldn't cross the Vaseline line, so you could find a focus on it. The thing is, with a camera, when you focus on a point with a long lens, you literally are focusing on 1 inch of turf, and so they would pass through this. But at least you got some images, like these really tight shots, like the earlier one of that roach coming around the corner.
All right.
You have to put a diopter on the lens, and the focus range is so limited that, you know, if it moves 1 inch the wrong way, you don't
Got
have it.
nothing, yeah.
So we had to keep shooting until we got it.
Well, you got some great close-ups of in focus of roaches.
Yeah, a couple.
And there's a great shot when he throws the sheet back of the roaches rushing up to him. And I imagine that's how you accomplish that, was with that Vaseline, just to kind of funnel them towards the camera.
Well, in that case, I think they were just there. We just loaded them. And a lot of those were the fake ones, the peanut shells.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, so it looks like more than there are, because many had escaped. I mean, we would, look at this fake lightning. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys.
It's a comic book.
That lightning looked pretty fake.
Yeah, that's the mantra. It's a comic book.
Okay. Oops. Lights going out.
Well, that's the worst thing. Not only are you with roaches, but in the
power
dark.
is out.
You don't know where they are. Are they
Because
on
that's
you?
what brings them out, is the power going out. They don't like light. Oh man. Yeah, we're about to see some. We're about to see some big mothers coming up. Bastards! Oh.
That's amazing. How did we do that, Tom? I mean, I think we just sort of forced them up through a...
Well, that vent thing, I think, is the funnel that you were talking about earlier, where they dumped them, and they all... But eventually, I guess...
They came out.
Some came out, yeah. I think the drain in the sink was a big syringe like we had later on.
Yeah. All over the place. We would try to put them around. You dump a Rubbermaid 10-gallon garbage can out of full of roaches into this room, and within 20 seconds you don't see one. They find places
look,
to
there's
hide.
that big one that went
That big guy.
Well, there's one that crawls out of the exhaust chute there later on. That's enormous. Looks like it ate like 5 other bugs.
Well, that was a Steve.
That was a Steve.
You know, each one of these shots, though, we would have to. Mike would focus on the phone here, and they'd dump the.
Oh yeah, you can see they're beginning to dissipate even as the
They'd
shot.
dump 100 of them in there, thousands of them in there, and they'd. Within 20 seconds, they'd be gone. They'd get inside that phone somehow. I mean, it was amazing. All of these, each one of these shots had to be refreshed. You know, you had to dump new roaches in. So they would show up.
I remember you asked them to redesign this console. Maybe not that in particular, but you wanted it more science fiction-y or something. Now that's a bunch of peanut shells with roaches on it.
Yeah.
And here comes one out of the appearance shot with the huge roaches. Oh, look at that big mother. He was.
Yeah, that big guy.
That's the bird-eating cockroach.
That's the blabberous giganteer. Now that sink is obviously not full of roaches. It's got a fake bottom. But we had 250,000 roaches.
Wow.
Oh.
I had no idea there were that many.
Oh, yeah. And when you buy them from a catalog, they're 50 cents a piece. So that adds up. That's like $125,000.
Did you ever balance
It was cheaper
out?
to send these boys down to Trinidad and get us some
That's
roaches.
what I was wondering. Did you ever balance out what it cost to send those guys to Trinidad?
Yes, we did. Of
50
course.
cents.
Of course.
Imagine crossing the border. How we have a couple 100,000 cockroaches. Do you mind?
Yeah.
On the plane, how do you get?
Well, they came back. When they came back across the border, they basically said, "This is for a Stephen King movie," and the border guards said, "Oh, Stephen King? Sure," and let them through.
Right this way.
Go ahead and ruin the environment.
You're going through customs. You're going through customs. You know, what's
Right.
in there? That's that
Shot of them rushing.
depth of field thing you were talking about.
Yeah, yeah. You'd dump them out in front of the lens. You'd focus on a point, 6 inches in front of the lens.
Now, George saved the day when, we all know the roaches are going to come out of Stephen King. We're not giving anything away.
Yeah.
But this is the 5th movie. It was me and a 17-year-old kid that did all the effects and all these things. We just kind of burned out. I could not figure out how to have the roaches come out of V.G. Marshall's chest. George suggested just make the hole and cover it with toilet paper, make it up like his skin, and that's what we did. And then you did the same thing on Rami getting the obelisk in his chest. Two Evil Eyes.
Yeah.
Did it with toilet paper, you know. That's just air bladders, and that's an appliance on his forehead. It would just inflate in the shape of a roach. Here they come. And that's the toilet. That's the toilet paper right there.
Yeah.
Now, if you were running the sound on the set, we're screaming.
Oh yeah.
We're screaming at how when they came out of there.
Well, because they were actually coming out, and there were hundreds of them.
Oh yeah, on that footage time, I remember you go, "That's wonderful."
Yeah, and then he cracks up. That's the last thing on the tape. Well, they're not just creeping up on you; they're creeping out of you.
So now
we're spread a little more Rick Catazone overhead against the camera.
Okay, now watch in the distance. It's Marty Schiff and me as Garbage Man, and we're doing bits. We're kicking lids and catching them and doing acrobatics with the trash cans over there.
Yeah, but then what? You mean it's not highlighted?
Oh, I know. You see it, but it's there. You know.
I think is the Foley wrong? I think we put in all the sound effects. Marty Schiff and Tom. Here we go.
One of the, like Dawn of the Dead, and there's been a few things where Marty and I have been partners in crime.
Partners in crime.
Partners in garbage.
But we must.
This is all ad-libbed here too.
Yeah, completely.
Now you never see garbage men like this.
No.
You know, a Jewish guy and.
Well, it works.
But you know, Tom, at the end of the day, we do have to remember that you
Marty's,
are Garbage Man number 2.
I reminded Marty yesterday that he's Garbage Man.
Yeah, you are Garbage Man number 2.
See, you don't see Voodoo Doll on the 185. It's cropped off. But
didn't you tell me the comic book you saw does have that thing cut out?
Has a little thing cut out still, yeah. Where Billy
But you don't see it on screen. The doll is chopped off. You see Voodoo Doll.
And now we find out that Billy's been up to something.
Yeah.
Throw my comic books away, will you?
And there you go. The first little pang.
Yikes.
That's what serves you right.
Blink.
Joe King doing it.
Joe King getting the last word in his father's.
What's he say there?
All this lighting.
Ready for another shot, Dad?
Jinga, 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 jinga. Here comes Harrison's music.
Oh,
we tried to put the lights, we tried to get the lights as blue as we could on that and match it. But, we didn't have the dough to really do it exactly right, but it still cooks.
Yeah. I mean, if you're sitting there going, boy, the lights didn't match. I don't like this movie. Something's obviously gone wrong.
Okay.
It's
a really fun movie, man. I mean, it was great checking it out. I wish I could have been listening to it at the same time, but I can't because we're recording this. Had we been listening to it at the same time, we wouldn't have been able to record. It was really, really, it's really fun. We had a great Garbage Man number 1, Garbage.
See it? Yeah.
How did you get to be Garbage Man number 2?
Why? Who
decided that?
Marty Schiff loves being number 1 on that. He loves
Reminds me constantly.
When I interviewed him, that was the first thing I remember. I'm Garbage Man number 1.
And he said, did he say, make sure you tell Tom?
Exactly, yes.
Oh,
Mike
man.
Spolan
There's
did.
the editors.
Also, Pat Booba did Geordie, and Mike Spolan did. Actually, I had it backwards. Shows you what I know.
No, yeah. I didn't think that was right.
Yeah. And you were right.
Yeah. Jim Fang, there's this story about Jim Fang. We were looking at we watched this movie, and we're sitting there looking at the credits in a screening room, dark screening room. And, this was the first movie where there were, 125 people that worked on it. And I didn't know half of them, nor their names. Mm-hmm. And we're sitting in the screening room the first night that we showed it, and all these credits came up. And I happened to focus on Jim Fang's name. And it was a random thing. And I said, look at this. All these people worked on this movie. I said, who the hell is Jim Fang? And Jim was sitting right in front of him.
Oh,
And he turned around and he said, "That would be me." And
oh man. Of all the names to pick, that's the one that you got.
Yes, but he went on to work on Monkey Shines
Right.
and Dark
Oh,
He
Hair.
yeah.
obviously didn't hold it against you.
no,
No,
he
no.
didn't hit me or anything. But
Who the hell is Jim? Here,
Here I am.
present.
Thanks for noticing me, George.
You know, it's just one of those pick it out of the hat.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this list of credits.
Yeah, it could have picked anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, but George, if you're in a room, clearly he's the only one that could be Fang. He's Chinese, you know, or Korean or something. You know?
There weren't any others? Yeah, maybe.
Well, I don't know.
maybe-
I wasn't there. I'm just thinking, you know.
So we've been watching Creepshow here with George Romero and Tom Savini. I've had a lot of fun. I hope you've had too. Guys, want to say your goodbyes here?
How do you say that in England?
I don't know.
Buonasera.
So long,
not-
mates.
No, that's not British.